80-year-old Henry had been stranded at sea for a total of 81 days. With no source of fresh water, he was on the verge of dying from thirst when suddenly inspiration struck. He pulled out his knife and sliced open a plastic bucket, then poured in some seawater. Covering the opening with a sheet of plastic, he placed a mug inside, then set a small metal box in the center to weigh the plastic down. Under the scorching sunlight, condensation began to form, slowly dripping into the mug, producing a cup of fresh water. Next, he took out a coil of fishing line and tossed some bait into the sea. Soon, there was movement. Henry carefully began to reel it in, but then, to his shock, a small shark emerged. He had actually caught a baby shark. What Henry didn't know was that beneath his life raft, an entire group of sharks was lurking, circling in silence, waiting for the right moment to strike. Suddenly, he spotted a cargo ship approaching in the distance. Heart racing, he fired a flare and shouted for help with all his strength, but the ship never slowed. It passed right by him, utterly indifferent, leaving him helpless and boiling with frustration. He hurled the signal flare into the sea and sank down in defeat. That night, Henry huddled in his raft, not daring to peek out over the edge. In the middle of the night, the roar of engines jolted him awake. Another cargo ship. He scrambled for a flare and fired two in quick succession, bright enough to light up the night sky. Yet again, no one seemed to notice. The ship faded into the darkness. By the seventh day adrift, Henry had run out of food. He survived only by rationing the small cup of distilled water he'd managed to produce. Taking out his sextant, he realized he had drifted far off course. His chances of encountering another ship were now next to nothing. Crushed by despair, Henry pulled out a notebook, wrote his final words, sealed them inside a bottle, and cast it into the sea. But fate wasn't finished with him yet. One night, lights shimmered on the horizon once more, another ship. His flares, however, were gone. In a desperate last gamble, Henry tore out a page from his notebook, set it on fire atop the bucket, and hoped the flame would catch someone's eye. When the fire wasn't bright enough, he threw the entire notebook in. The blaze grew, and then spread to the life raft itself. With no choice, Henry leapt into the sea. He floated beneath the vast night sky, his heart a whirlwind of fury and helpless resignation. At last, he stopped struggling, deciding to face death with quiet courage. But just as the ocean was about to claim him, a beam of light broke through the darkness and touched the water's surface. Hope surged within him once more. Summoning every last ounce of strength, Henry swam upward with all his might, racing toward life.